We all know someone who's been battling addiction. When they wind up homeless, that's usually it. But for Grant Denton, he found purpose.
Like every once in a while, I can taste just based on what I remember. Do you know? And like you like you navigate your brain through these things, and then you'll remember that taste. You'll be like, you'll be there. It's weird.
Yeah, that's. Well, I'm so glad you're here and not there.
Yeah, it's a whole different. Like anybody.
Isn't
if you
it so
known
crazy
me back then,
though for you to think like you were there and now you're here? Like, do you
it's
ever?
very.
Do you
Oh
ever,
yeah.
like, go, oh
So
my
I
God.
think like so there was one time that, and I was just talking to someone about it today. Like I almost killed my son. So so when Roman was born, he had cocaine in his stool because we were actively smoking crack. So my son was born a crack baby, and then he was like 6 years old. I was going to. She would let me pick them up from the daycare and take them to the house, and the daycare was right next to the house. But in order to see my kids, I had to get super high. Well, as high as I could, so that I could maintain some level of normalcy. Like you don't know what normal is when you're a drug addict, and so like I would shoot a little heroin and meth, and I would bring alcohol with me. And I think this time when I picked him up, I was about maybe 7 days up on the streets, and then I passed out because I wasn't allowed in their complex because I burglarized a couple houses in there. I caught a couple cases, and I was 86 from this housing complex, so I was waiting outside for him. And then I don't know how long later, but I was being sternum rubbed. Somebody was it was the medic was sternum rubbing me, and because I fell out, and Roman had wandered onto Boulder Highway, and almost caused an accident because he almost got killed.
Oh my God.
And I remember seeing they had Roman over there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm on the ground, and I had warrants. The police were showing up. They're like, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And I'm like, all right, hold on. Let me get. And I had to run, leave my son with yeah. So from there to here, yeah.
And the kids now, like how they have.
They're fucking great.
But do they have recollection
Oh,
of
yeah.
any of that?
Oh yeah.
And do they go to therapy or anything at any time? They know now that their dad is stable and.
I think that them seeing me climb is an advantage to see like where it was, what it used to be, and because back then that's what it was. And then, you know, Dad showed up every once in a while with a backpack. Dad was always because I was on both ends of the spectrum. I was either like really sick from being dope sick, or I was just like super high, fucking doing shit, just this, you know, and over energy and boom, and then you wouldn't see me for months, you know. So that to them was like normal, and then when Dad starts hanging out more, because I was never bad to him. It wasn't bad Dad. I just wasn't present, which is maybe even worse. I don't know.
Yeah. Tell me how you decided to start the Karma Boxes.
I was doing a program with the Life Change Center that was designed to get recovering addicts integrated back into the community. I know this. I know that when you're addicted to drugs, a lot of time to sustain that lifestyle, you have to engage in criminal behavior. That's just sometimes what it is. And for me and a lot of other people that are on the streets, that's what we had to do. And then we're expected to, you know, you stop doing drugs, and then you're expected to integrate back into this community. And it's not easy. To integrate back into a community you used to steal from or commit crimes against. And so the best way to do that is to give back, to give and do what you can, like volunteer and help as much as you can, because we kind of owe it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like the thing about it is that like the idea wasn't because I remember what it was like to have without, because having without is like a normal thing. Not having is normal. Does that make sense? And so like I don't remember like really thinking, man, I wish I had this. Like I just, you know what you got, and if you come across some socks, cool. And you know, does that make sense? And like you're in survival you're in a survival mode, and so you're in a different frame of mind. Like I didn't realize how bad my condition was. I was, you know, homeless, like part of my gig was, and different people do different things, but part of my gig was that I would pull licks every once in a while. I would rob people or rob stores or do something every once in a while, and then you'd come up. And when you come up, then you would get a hotel room for a little while, you'd buy a bunch of dope, and then you'd get caught up in the weird cycle again, and then you'd be destitute for a couple of months, and then someone would come around that you can rob, or that something would happen, and you would, like, it's just this criminal lifestyle. And some people you would rob 1 week and be hanging out with them 2 weeks later. It's crazy, right? But that's like, that's how it was. You're in this survival mode, and you're not, like, it doesn't, like, seem like it's bad. Like, there was when I was walking around with the backs of my shoes cut out, that wasn't weird to me. That was just what it was, you know?
Yeah. You do so much now with youth, and you have really started really focusing on that. Do you feel like that is, you have kids, you know that they've seen you at your worst?
Yeah.
Is it more because you want them to know not even to go down that road?
Here's the thing, is like a lot of kids, and I learned this through speaking with Brian Williams and Think Kindness, is a lot of kids are going through some stuff right now, and they don't realize how bad it is. And you can still motivate them. They're still optimistic about stuff. Like, I remember when I was a kid, a lot of bad things were happening, but I was still able to be motivated and optimistic and still be able to dream. Like, there's kids can still be able to dream. And I know, like, if you can, yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening, and yeah, we have to identify and process those things. But I think in addition to that, there still needs to be this optimistic push that, like, things aren't so bad and things can get better, and that's it. And that's why there's a hard focus on kids.
I think that you and I have had these just amazing. Every time I'm with you, I feel so like, yeah, I'm gonna conquer the world. Like, you just have this electric personality about yourself, but you also, like you were talking about, give and give and give. You give and give and give.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you still have enough for you? I mean, are you self-care still? Are you involved? Because it seems important that I see you as stable in your recovery. You're dedicated to the community. You're out there helping the homeless. Are there times when it's just like, oh, I got to take a minute back and focus on Grant? Do you still do that?
Absolutely. But I think there's how do I put this? So if you look at, like, if you believe in this universal law, right, that whatever you put out comes back to you. And if I spent this much of my life and my timeline taking and taking and taking, then in order for me to be balanced at the end, I have to give. So that has to be part of my identity, and you have to do things, and that has to be part of who you are. And so it's not like it's a thing that's outside of me. It's just something that you must do these things. So some people have to do other things in order to be who they are. And
I feel that way. Like, yeah. I feel like I have to tell your story or the next stage story of this individual, because I feel, for me, I've gained so much from listening and to other people's stories, other people's struggles, other people's passions, how they were able to reach those passions. It's, for me, I gained so much from sitting here with you and listening to what you've done in your life. That's how I feel, that I have this way to get the information out. I want people to know you the way I know you. I want people to see what you've done for the community, the giving that you have done for the community, for the Karma Box Project, reaching out to the youth, speaking about where you've been. I think that you have shown people who are at the lowest of their low that you can pull yourself out. Can you specifically think of that exact moment when you were like, I'm done, I want to get clean and I want to be the Grant that I am today? Was it one moment? It's a catalyst that reminds you of all of the things where you're like, wait a minute, this is what I need to be doing. There was, because there's things that I remember now, like years ago, before I recovered, or even thought about recovering. I went into a detox and a lady touched my hand and was just so nice to me, and I was like, wow,
It's awesome. She was so nice, and I'll never forget that. Then there was a guy one time that told me, he's like, man, you gotta start challenging yourself. I didn't recover after that, but it was like a series of things, like the lady being nice to me, what that meant to me, like, and then the guy telling me, dude, you gotta challenge yourself. It was actually, I was smoking, and he was like something about quitting smoking. He was like, that's 20 opportunities a day to challenge yourself. Pack a cigarette. But like, so then, and every morning today, to this day, when the alarm goes off and you don't want to hit it, like, dude, I got to challenge myself. You got to challenge yourself. But so it's a series of things that are said to you, and then in one day you just remember all of them. And it was when my granny wrote me a letter. Last time I was locked up, I was facing 5 to 7 years in prison for burglaries and all these crimes related to drug use. No drug charges, but crimes that are, and most of us have those, that are related to drug use. And my granny wrote me a letter that says that she can't support my lifestyle anymore, that she was done. I was like, what? And it swiped that net right out from underneath me.
Well, I just, you know how much I love you. I just adore you. And I feel like we're so blessed to have you in our community. And if you aren't an example of someone that can pick themselves up and change their life, I mean, I feel like you're like the poster child for, you can do this, like, you've got this. If there was one thing that you could say to someone who is homeless in the midst of addiction right now, what would you say to them?
So, like, it is not like, that's not the end all. Like, we have to know that that's part of our story. That's our gig, right? That's part of the story. And you can use this homeless and drug addicted and lower than you've ever been thing to your advantage. Most people don't get an opportunity. And I say opportunity, I mean it. Like, most people don't get an opportunity to lose everything and have a piece of their soul taken and be a homeless drug addict. And like, most people don't have that opportunity. What it takes to climb out of that will make you so much better than you could ever imagine. Most, if there's like you go about the conventional ways of living, and that takes, I get it. It takes a lot more to become great when you've had everything taken from you. And so if you look at what it's going to take to become the best version of you, then we're blessed. Like, I don't. Did I say that right? Does that make sense?
It does.
I think that there's a value in losing everything and getting it back,
so that you can be the great Grant that you are.
Yeah. Like, where else would I learn all this shit or stuff? Fuck.
We're so lucky to have Grant Denton in our community. He brings purpose and good karma.
It's not just like you guys are going to give somebody one thing today and that's going to be it. As long as this box is here, people are going to continue to keep giving and getting things. You guys just set a platform. Most people just need a platform. You guys just made a platform for other people to give back. It's not just about us, right? It's about other people. Other people are going to drive by to go to the bank and be like, we can give somebody something. What a great place, right?
Let's keep the legacy going. Remember, karma always comes back around. Fill a karma box today, and you'll know what I mean. To find a karma box location closest to you, visit Karma Box Project on Facebook. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Next Stage with Connie Wray.